Well, it is not all about the Federal Reserve today. Tonight, Meta and Microsoft both posting earnings. And these numbers and guidance need to be big because the stocks have not only been hot, but they basically control much of the stock market. So what should you expect? Well, your next guest now loves Meta stocks, got a $750 price target on it. It's about another 7% upside from here. Joining us now ahead of internet research at Evercore ISI, Mark Mahaney. Mark, take us out of the Fed for a few minutes. What do we expect from Meta tonight?
Well, the read-through we had from Google reporting last week was that, ad revenue should be relatively strong. They should be able to come in at the high end of their guidance range, kind of $45 billion in ad revenue, growing kind of solidly mid-teens. I think what people are going to be really looking for, they're going to expect that. What the people of the unknowns are, what is the company going to do with its full-year CapEx guide? Google raised it last week. Is Meta going to do the same? I think there's a decent chance that they will. These companies are really leaning in. And then what are they going to do with their expense guidance? And I think Meta's a great corporate citizen for doing this, giving you full-year expense and CapEx guidance. Other companies should do it. But they've laid this out, and then they've had a bunch of really high-profile hires recently, AI hires. So we're going to be taking that expense guidance up. I think there's tolerance amongst investors to raise the capex. I'm not sure there's a lot of tolerance for a raise in the opex, the operating expense guidance, but those are the key things people are going to be listening for tonight.
How much is the stock priced to perfection, though? That's what I'm wondering. With this kind of run, I mean, I don't know if any stock outside of NVIDIA has been this hot off its sort of pandemic bottom. How much does Meta just have to nail it tonight on everything?
For the stock to go up, it has to be a pretty clean beat and raise quarter. No question about it, Brian. I think you set it up right. I like Meta as a stock. I don't love it. I think there are other names that are more dislocated than Meta. I actually prefer Google here, and I have for a couple of months because it's more dislocated and there's a real chance for the narrative to change. This is a deep consensus long, Meta is, so it's kind of hard to make a lot of extra money if you're long a deep consensus long. But I think the stock can continue to grind higher. I think it can hold its multiple. It's trading at around 24 times earnings. That's kind of at the high end of the range that it's traded at. There are a couple of things that could really take that multiple up, but I don't think they're high probability events. Instead, I think it's kind of a quality compounder. Stock goes up 20% because the earnings growth is 20%. I think you can get that. I think you can bank on that for a name like Meta. So I don't see a particular reason to buy it aggressively into the print. If there were any sort of correction, I'd probably want to aggressively buy that, depending on what the news is. But I like Meta. I'll stick with it.
Maybe a little bit out of left field here, Mark, and we don't know what's going to happen. But what if TikTok were to go away in the United States? Does Meta get a 20% pop because suddenly Instagram is where all the TikTokers now go?
Not a 20% pop, but it gets a 3 to 5% pop. That can only do so much. I think you've already had a bit of a pausing in ad campaigns with TikTok, given all the uncertainty over whether it'll exist in this market or in what form it'll exist. So I think you've already had kind of a bleeding over of budgets over to Meta. Hey, Brian, I got a great data point for you. Last night, Booking.com, one of the largest buyers of advertising, announced that they were growing their their social media spend by 25% year over year. And that money's going to Meta. Like, it's a really positive data point for how marketers are shifting budgets and increasingly leaning into Meta. Meta's done a great job here. I think that's reflected a lot in the stock price, but perhaps not fully.